What is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Talking Titans Sick Podcast. This is actually our first installment of the off-season portion of our show. We got a lot to get into. We're going to touch on some of the games we witnessed over the weekend. I'm sure we'll argue at some point in between. But let's get rocking and rolling. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans. He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
What's going on, everyone? As always, I'm your host, Sal Mayfree, joined by my two co-hosts, Jarrett and Vinny. We got a lot to get into this week. We saw a very, very, very exciting weekend of NFL playoff football. We got another great matchup that'll be starting it off pretty soon as we're recording tonight. But let's first just talk about what we saw briefly in the world in the NFL. I want to hear the one thing that shocked you and the one thing that didn't shock you over the last 2 days of the playoffs. Jarrett, why don't you start us off? What did you see and what raised your eyebrows and what made you smirk?
What I definitely saw was a whole different side of football than we're used to with the Titans.
Absolutely.
And that's offense, man. Offense was flying on almost every game this week. Surprised by the Bills keeping it tight. I had the Dolphins keeping it tight. I had the Bills minus 13.5, so that screwed me a little bit. The Jags coming back down 27, man. I thought they were dead in the water on Saturday night. Trevor Lawrence is definitely a problem, and we have him in the division now for the foreseeable future with Doug Peterson. I mean, that Jags team came in, hot in that second half. So, all good football all the way around. I'm really looking forward to tonight's game, though, Cowboys and Buccaneers. So I want to see if the GOAT still has it against the Cowboys. But it was definitely exciting first weekend of Wild Card Weekend.
Absolutely. Ben?
I would say what surprised me the most is that a lot of these teams with quarterbacks who you would think would lead their team to struggle actually showed up and played decent. I know the Buffalo Bills did a lot of things to keep Miami in that game, but I thought they would handle them. But I give Miami a lot of credit. I think much of the same with Baltimore. You didn't expect much out of Hunley, however you say his name, but he also played decent as well, kept them in that game, had an opportunity to tie it up at the end with the Hail Mary. But that is the NFL, so I was a little surprised by that. Maybe not surprised, but a little frustrated as well, knowing that, our quarterback situation was so up in the air the last second half of the season, and you see teams with Skylar Thompson and Brett Hundley, get into the playoffs and play well and almost win. And we had a 5-game division lead and couldn't seem to finish it, even with the likes of, Malik Willis and Josh Dobbs. So that was surprising and frustrating to me. But what didn't surprise me is those Jacksonville Jaguars coming back, because they're led by Doug Peterson, who down my way, he is very popular still. I mean, there's a statue outside of Xfinity Live with him and Foles, and he's got his guys believing, even down 27-0. You have to be able to keep a team, I guess still motivated during that halftime. And he did it, and I give them a lot of credit. And I think it's worrisome that going forward they're going to be together, like Jarrett said, for a long time. So I was surprised by some teams, not surprised by others. But how'd you feel about it, Salvatore?
Yeah, so the one thing that surprised me the most, realistically, just to kind of counter what you said, is I'm really shocked that Herbert wasn't able to hold on to a freaking 27-point lead. I mean, I thought that kid was damn near elite, and elite quarterbacks just you're not losing a 27-point lead, whether you're on the road or not, and he just didn't do enough in that second half to pull that off. So I was very, very surprised by that. What I certainly was not surprised of whatsoever was the, once again, absolute collapse of the Minnesota Vikings. This is a team that just continues to have great regular seasons, Yeah, their defense is nothing to write home about, but they just have so many excellent players, at least on the offensive side of the football, that you think, this is going to be the year that they actually make a run. And they just continuously fail miserably in the postseason. I made a tweet earlier, which really I didn't get as much pushback as I thought I was going to. But I said something to the likes of, you could swap Ryan Tannehill and Kirk Cousins jerseys, and not a single person would know the difference, because they're really, in my opinion, as
Garrett would notice the difference.
Jared, yeah, probably Jared, because Jared, he's one of Ryan's biggest fans, so he knows exactly how he throws the football. But that's a joke, obviously. They're both better, really good regular season guys. Do well with excellent talent around them, but then they're no show in the playoffs. And you could even make an argument, honestly, that Kirk Cousins has done more in the playoffs than Ryan Tannehill has, because he's never thrown over 100 yards in a playoff win. Now, has Kirk Cousins won a playoff game with Minnesota yet?
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so either. So maybe you give the edge to him, but to Tannehill. But nevertheless, they're just not. They don't have it. And in the NFL, you need to have it. And the guys that are moving on next week, even of the likes of Daniel Jones, right now, they have it. And, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in this league. And if you want to make it to the next round, you got to have it.
It definitely is with coaching too involved, because I had people
Purdy
over my house with Brock Purdy. I had people over my house watching the games all weekend long. So we were talking and like how the Titans differ from all these teams. I said it's coaching, man. Brian Dable comes in, inherits Joe Judge's football team last year, and takes them to the playoffs. Same thing with Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson. Last to first. I mean, a split second like that with coaching. So hopefully somebody comes in for us under Vrabel with the offense and everything, and gets us to that spot where we need to be too.
Yeah,
so coaching is
absolutely.
definitely huge.
Yeah, no, I alluded to it also. Like, you see what Brock Purdy did. I mean, really, what he's done over the past 2 months is really unfathomable on all levels. It doesn't matter who he's playing with. This kid never in his wildest dreams thought he was going to be put in this position, and he was. And he's letting his nuts hang a little bit as well. The coaching's great, but that kid's made some plays on Saturday that you just wouldn't expect the last pick in the draft to be able to make. So, and then, you look at what Daniel Jones has done over the past month or two also. It's just unheard of. And he's clearly now going to be getting a contract, and you might have added a few zeros onto it after that performance yesterday. So, definitely, very, very exciting weekend in the NFL, and we hope it continues tonight and moving on to next week. So let's jump into this. This is going to be what we talk about today. We'll try to zone in on specific topics each week throughout this offseason. But, I think it's fair to bring this up for another time, even though we touched on a little bit last week, if nothing else, because of the fact that already, before the man has even played his playoff game, already there are reports that the Titans are linked to discussions about possibly pursuing Tom Brady for next season. And, there's a lot of things that, you can say about that. You can say, well, why now when you had the opportunity 3 years ago? You could say, why when they have no offensive line as it stands now? There's a million ways you can look at it, but I'll give it to you first before I give my comments on it. Vin, what do you think about this even being a report so early on? And are you happy, nervous, think there's no shot? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it would hard to be mad at getting Tom Brady. I know a lot of people think that he fell off a little this year, but he had an awful O-line the whole year, essentially, but still managed to throw out for, I believe, over 4,000 yards and close to 30 touchdowns, give or take. So I think if you give the kid time, he can absolutely still kid, I should say. He's more a middle-aged man at this point. But if you give Tom Brady time to throw and people to throw to, I think he can absolutely still do it. I think we have some things working in our advantage. Similar to what Tampa did, he loved that Bruce Arians was their coach because he, is kind of the opposite of Belichick. Whereas I think Vrabel is kind of maybe in between a Belichick and an Arians player coach, but a little, more stern than an Arians. but they have history obviously together, played together. There's obviously a mutual respect. I think he would let Tom be Tom. But there's things that go along with it. I mean, he's not going to come here with this receiving core or this offensive line. We have to entice him a little bit. I think the fact that we play in a state with no income tax also plays to our advantage, much like it did with Tampa and their fan base when he signed with them. No state income tax, which people, sometimes might laugh at, but when you're talking about tens of millions of dollars, from our state or from Tennessee compared to other states, it can, be the difference of millions of dollars. So there's some things working to our advantage, I guess, maybe when it comes to, him maybe wanting to come here. But do I think he's going to come here? I don't, unless the circumstances really work in his favor. Much like last week when Jared said, I think Vegas is going to make a serious run at him. It's a tough division, but they have Waller, they have Adams, they have Renfro. Jacobs is a free agent, but if they get Brady, I'm guessing he might want to come back. He would be reunited with McDaniels. So I would not be mad about it at all. I would be a little, frustrated knowing that we could have had him the year after we went to the title game, and he probably would have put us over the top. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I would love it if we can get Tom in two-tone blue. It would really, bring out his eyes, I think, if we can get him in the blue. So how do you feel about it, Jared?
People are going to say, we've seen it all over the place. They don't want Brady. They don't want Rodgers. Our minds are going to change 100 times.
They don't want Jesus. They don't want anything.
Yeah, my mind changed 100 times already without saying anything, moving forward. I think there is a real shot of Tom Brady coming to Nashville, coming to the Music City. He is a Vrabel boy. And if whatever it takes to get him here, we have a new facility, which is enticing to incoming free agents now. We have a new stadium coming. I don't know if he's going to be available, if we even get him for the 2026 season, if he's not going to retire by then. But still, anytime you have a chance to get Tom Brady, you go after him, and hopefully they do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be honest. I'd rather have Malik Willis over Tom Brady. That's a joke. That's a joke.
I was just about to walk out.
I had to get you. I had
I
to
was
make
getting
you
ready
guys
to
on your
smash my laptop.
Yeah. Oh my
I
god.
was putting the headset down and walking upstairs.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. I can't believe you guys even thought that was possible of being
Well,
serious.
you're ready
Anyway,
to die on that hill, and I guess we have.
I'm ready to die on the hill of putting him in.
You're like this with the quarterback every week, so I don't know what.
No, I'm not. I am firm on my belief of Ryan Tannehill is diminished to nothing. So that's not. But anyway, let's not digress. So here's the thing. Originally, like at first thought, I'm saying to myself, well, it would take a miracle to make this offensive line from the worst we've ever seen in the team's history to being average, which is what they would need to be to even remotely think about bringing in a 47-year-old Tom Brady or whatever he's going to be next year. But then I kind of thought to myself, well, here's the thing. First of all, there were a lot of injuries in the offensive line. There's a possibility maybe they could restructure Lewan, bring him back. Nate Davis progresses a little bit more. You figure out what you're going to do with MPI. You draft a guy, because if they somehow got him, then absolutely the 11th pick is the best tackle available. That goes without saying. Or, I haven't looked at anything yet. Maybe if the guard is better there, okay, take him, put him at right guard, whatever the case may be, O-line at 11. And then after you get your mind wrapped around the fact that their O-line could be better, you think about all the other pros that come there. First of all, there is no universe at all where Tom Brady comes to the Titans and we're still giving the ball to Derrick Henry 35 times a game. That's just not happening. He's never allowing that, ever. And we've all agreed at this point that this team needs to start throwing the ball more if they want to take the next step, because relying on their running back to take them to the promised land just isn't a reality anymore. I don't care how good the offensive line is. I just don't see it happening. And then you think about the other things, like how he brings the best, not just out of the offense. He brings the best out of every individual on the team, because, I think it goes without saying at this point, people are terrified of him. Really, is much you get all the respect in the world, and it's you get the fear of God, and that's a good thing to have in a team when a guy like Tom Brady is on your roster. So that's an excellent thing to have as well. it ain't crazy to think about the fact that you're going to get some calls. You're going to get some fucking calls with Tom Brady under center. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then just the fact that he brings a caliber of quarterback, no matter what his age is, that is unprecedented. And maybe he isn't as mobile as he used to be, even though he's never been mobile. But he is an assassin, and he has the edge that Michael Jordan has that on the basketball court that you just can't put a price tag on. So I'm all for it. I realistically think if I had to put a percentage on it, I think it's about 10%, to be honest. I just don't see, no matter what their relationship is, this team's got a lot of work to do before this job even looks remotely enticing to him. And I just don't see how they can get all that established in time for them to present the offer. And I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I don't foresee it being a possibility realistically, but I would absolutely love it after a nice hard sleep on it. 1,000,000%. And then it gives possibly, I hate to bring this kid's name up again because I know apparently to most people there's zero chance. No. Well, listen, if there's ever going to be a guy that you want to groom someone, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, if Tom Brady can't, progress Malik Willis at least mentally as an NFL quarterback, then nobody ever will. So, I would have no issues if somehow it happened. Keep Malik Willis as a backup. He still has all the intangibles. I'm not going to dive into it. He's got the arm. He's got the legs. He just needs, he needs it up here. He needs to have an offensive line he can trust, and you might be able to get something out of him. But absolutely, I'm all for it. So
another thing that was brought up, not to cut you off, Sal,
no, go ahead.
I think our division is much more, attractive than maybe the AFC West because you have Houston and Indy who are probably going to be. Yeah, Houston more than Indy is going to be in a full rebuild. Indy, I guess, if you get the right guys in there, can maybe turn it around a little. But it's still a pretty weak division. And now Jacksonville's going to have a first place schedule next year. So, if you want to look at where he thinks his path to the playoffs might be the easiest, the AFC South is still a division that's pretty weak that I think if he knows that he came in here, then he ain't scared of Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Whereas if you went to the West, AFC West, you got to deal with Mahomes, you got to deal with Herbert. It's much more difficult to win that division than it is this one. So if you want to play devil's advocate a little bit, I think our division is a little more attractive than maybe going out west. So just playing devil's advocate there, but it's something, none of us brought up that I think, might go through his head if he's considering coming here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do have a feeling that not if, but when the Colts get either Stroud or Bryce Young, that they're going to actually possibly be striking lightning in a bottle year one. I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, they definitely have enough pieces to be competent next year with an electric quarterback, and they're going to probably get one. I still think you're right. It's still a safe bet that, Tom Brady, with the pieces we already have, with an addition of a couple more pieces, this is a nice path to the playoffs and a home playoff game. But we'll see how everything turns. I mean, it's just super early. I mean, for Christ's sake, they could go on a run, go to the Super Bowl, and he says, "Screw it, I'm staying with Mike Evans. I'm staying with this crew, and I'm going to finish my career here."
So 100 on him at 25-1. Why not?
The thing that gets me, and we're going to talk about the whole offseason with everybody, is Tom Brady is 47. All these quarterbacks in AFC, the last four, 27, 26, 24, 23. I mean, at what point do we get a young quarterback? But now going into the draft, we're in no position to get a quarterback because, unless we give up that much capital, because we need so much capital on this team, we're not going into the top five and jumping the Colts, to jumping Houston to get those quarterbacks. It's not going to happen.
Giving up a big piece.
That's what I'm saying. We're not trading Jeffrey Simmons. We're not trading a first next year, a first, this year. It's not happening. So, I mean, when will we get that young quarterback? I don't know. Do we have him in Malik Willis? I don't see it. So,
well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's going to jump into our next piece of this pie. I got to be honest with you. I feel like every night that passes, I have more of a weird inclination that this team is just going to throw shit at the wall and fucking go after that third pick, which is what they're going to need. And they're either going to take Stroud or Young, whoever's available. And the reason being this, the bottom line is as much as I still have faith in Malik Willis, it's evident now that the road path for him to be a franchise guy is still pretty long. And you are at the 11th pick. If there was ever a draft where, even though it's going to take a lot, you're going to go from 11 to 3 probably. I don't foresee 1 happening, but I still think 3 is possible because Arizona has 2, right? And they're not taking a quarterback, right? Doesn't Arizona have 2?
No, Houston has to.
Houston has
has
2.
two.
Yeah.
So either way, if the Colts jump
But,
them,
but who knows? Maybe they like they fall in love with Will Levis, and we only have to jump to 7,
Yeah.
or the kid from Florida that they're hyping up. I'm not big on him, but they're saying
No.
he could get into the first round, so we don't know who they like. But if I get what you're saying, so if they want somebody,
It's now.
it's
Got to be now. I mean, what are they going to do? Because listen, let's just be honest here. As far away as we might be from real contention in the Super Bowl, if they bring Ryan Tannehill back again this year, yeah, they'll probably, if he stays healthy, they get the offensive line a little bit better. Yeah, they'll probably win 8 to 10 games or 7 to 10 games, and they're going to be right in the same freaking spot as they always are, where they're going nowhere in the playoffs. They got a shitty spot, and they're nowhere near the part of the draft where they can get their guy. If it's going to be a year, it's going to be this year. And not for nothing, folks. I hear everyone tell me, oh, we're so many pieces away, so many holes to fill. We need the capital. What the fuck have we done with the draft capital so far? We've done nothing. We've done ugats for all you Italians out there. We've done nothing at all. We barely hit on any of our high draft picks. It's been a disaster the last 3-4 years. So why not say, listen, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, it's not a guarantee, but these guys are well-oiled machines in the hardest conference in college football. Let's give it a go. Let's just give it a go. You got to get rid of next year's first pick. Obviously, that's a given. I don't know what else is it could be this year's second too. It could be next year's second. Maybe it's first and second this year, next year.
Everything is going to be determined with free agency, because if they go all in on offensive line and we get that starting left tackle, I really think they're going to re-sign Nate Davis, and I think they're going to keep MPI on the right hand side. So you're more worried about center and the left hand side, left guard, left tackle. So even if they go after, because it's deep in free agency, the line. So even if they give that contract to the left tackle, they keep maybe Brewer as a swing, and they who knows? But we need line. So if they go line, I could see them moving up.
If they go line,
if they attack, no, if they go line in free agency, attack it all and go. I see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I just it frustrates me when our fan base is just always so. It's just picks. Yeah, we have the worst whole line in football. Let's just give up our future and set us back 3 or 5 years. That's what somebody said to me today. Giving up your picks to get the 1 to 3 this year, setting your franchise back 3.5 years. Where the fuck are we right now? We got a quarterback you can't trust past January. You got an offensive line that sucks. Yeah, okay. You can survive with ramping it up in free agency, but the picks, like, come on, guys. You need a quarterback in order to win a Super Bowl. We don't know who the fuck's our quarterback, so worry about that and let the cards fall after.
I mean, I'm up and down. Like I said, I say screw the picks, like the Rams. One podcast, I say it on Twitter, and then I talk to you guys. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should take that left tackle at 11, stick with it, don't move up. Yeah, who knows, man? My emotions with this team is crazy, but
yeah, everyone's hard.
We haven't hit except Jeffrey Simmons in the first round as of late, and
we've never hit on a quarterback.
Go for it, man. And I got news for you. If Young is available and Stroud's available, I'm going with CJ Stroud.
I like CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
he's bigger. He's bigger. I've watched a lot of film on both of them over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, and not just highlights. I'm talking film. I think they're both going to be serious. I think they're both going to be serious.
Well coached.
Yeah, and of course you got the people out there that say, "Oh, well, when's the last time an Ohio State quarterback has been good?" I mean, that's just nonsense. It doesn't matter what college. Yes, the history is shown. USC quarterbacks, Ohio State quarterbacks over the past, 10 years or whatever have not panned out. But they're still at the highest level of college football possible. You can't focus on, what's the word I'm looking for? what's the word when you're I don't know what the fucking word I'm looking for is, but
You
regardless,
gotta ask Vinny on that.
yeah, probably when not jinxes, but like
Can't look for like
um,
obscure patterns like that.
well,
Like
yeah, or superstitions, because that's really what it boils down to. It's superstition. Like Ohio State is still in a class of its own when it comes to college football, and you think that a guy's not going to be a good NFL quarterback
yeah,
because he
and look,
played.
for the longest time, it was we can't trust Alabama quarterbacks. Now you have Mac Jones, you have Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? You have Tua. This year, Bryce Young's going to go high.
Yeah,
Before Joe Burrow was no LSU quarterback really was worthwhile.
yeah,
So I don't believe in that. Daniel Jones went to Duke. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm
Pat
not.
Mahomes,
Me,
Texas A&M,
yeah, Texas Tech, Mahomes.
or Texas Tech, and
Yeah,
then where did Josh Allen? Just South
yeah,
Dakota or some shit?
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. I'm not in on that. So, but yeah, I'm with you. If he's your guy, then go get him. I don't give a fuck if
Yeah,
he went
I
to
mean,
South Alabama Tech A&M or he went to Alabama.
Like crazy here.
it's not like you went to Liberty or anything.
Yeah, elite competition down there. Where is Liberty? I don't even know where it's at.
think
I
it's
don't know, but
Louisiana.
apparently they play Campbell.
Sammy, if you could give us the state where Liberty is located, that'd be great at some point. Yeah, so you're right, Jared. You gotta let free agency play out before we really have an idea of what bullet we're shooting in the
And that's
draft.
why I think they're going to take time with the GM. I think him and Vrabel are really going to have to agree on what their idea is for the team going forward, and it might take a while because
But I think we're going to sign a GM by at least Friday this week because we got one more I think on tomorrow, and it's the Bills guy. So I think we're going to see what's going to be like turnstile. What's going to happen this week? I think we're going to see an OC possibly and a GM.
Yeah, I mean, it's my dad brought this up. A great point. It's crazy how they're even talking about targeting Tom Brady when they haven't even signed the general manager. Like, who's the one saying that we're targeting Tom Brady when
That's
there's
just
not
Vrabel
even the
connections.
ringleader? Probably, maybe, but not the greatest look that before a guy even gets his job. Liberty's in
Liberty is
Virginia, by the
Virginia.
way. Thank you, Sammy. So
If I
we
remember
could have,
on Jeopardy and they asked, now I know.
we could have driven there and watched him play. We didn't even know it.
Yeah, one way
But
to ask.
yeah, I don't think it's the greatest look that before a guy even comes in to start his job, there's rumblings of a decision that could be made that he would have to have a part in. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It's Tom Brady. I feel like 90% of teams would be interested in Tom Brady, even at 47. So maybe not 90, but more than half.
Well, I
Regardless,
mean, listen, you put the stats up there when I was talking about it. This year, at this age, and with his offensive line troubles, threw for 4,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So he threw less than 10 interceptions and almost for 5,000 yards at that age with that line. So
that's unfathomable. It really is, and it's just a testament to how good he is. And anyone who tries to tell you, "Oh, he's finally fallen off," and this and that, they're crazy. If this guy can get out of bed, throw on pads, and if this guy's arm isn't dead, which it's clearly not,
They're over
he is
5,000
still,
yards.
yeah,
Fucking 47 years old.
he's still the greatest of all time. He always will be. So we'll see how that plays out. We got plenty of time to look into it, but let's move on. We have. Oh, we got to wrap. We're gonna have to wrap it up soon because, we're gonna quickly get into
we got a
what
game
you call it.
in 9 minutes, all right? I got to get my bets in.
Yeah, Vin's got things to do. He's got quarterbacks to scout. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly get into this last segment. We put up a poll on Twitter about what quarterback we want to eliminate from this group of all the names that are somehow linked to Tennessee as of this moment. So quickly, Vin, you start us off. Of this first initial 9, who are you taking off?
Get Derek Carr out of my face, please.
Absolutely.
I want
Okay.
nothing to do with him or his brother when we signed him, talking about him on TV every week. I think that is a lateral move, is a lateral guess if you want to move on from Tannehill and you sign Derek Carr.
Okay. Jarrett?
All right, so that's your first one of the week, and you stole mine. So I guess I'll use him as my, sometime within the near future when we're done. So I'm going to have to go with Lamar Jackson. With his style play, I know Sal's going to
Vin,
have
you're so lucky your laptop's about to die.
Listen
I'm
to
sorry.
me. With his style of play, I don't see him lasting, that much longer in the NFL. And with that boatload of the contract that he's going to uphold, you could take him off the list for me.
You're gonna take him off the list over your fucking arch nemesis Malik Willis?
Well, I was going to play it, week by week. I was going
Well, I
to.
mean, you think he's
I'm going to
has a
throw.
better chance of
I'm throwing the bang out right
you
away.
think he's got a better chance of hitting the lottery than being
Listen to
a
me.
good quarterback? I
I'm
figured you'd get
throwing
him
the
off.
bang. I'm throwing the bang out right away. So if
All
people
right.
want to bash it, go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
we have
Fair.
a list full of quarterbacks to week by week. So
Yes, we do.
Sammy, get the big red X for me for
Yep.
next week.
Lamar
We
over
know who
Malik
Sal
Willis
thinks
over
of.
Lamar. Yeah, easy choice for me. I don't. You're right. It is a semi-lateral movement in my opinion, but I would take Derek Carr over Ryan Tannehill. I mean, he's got.
100%.
I mean, he at least is younger, and I think he's a little more athletic. So Ryan Tannehill, out of all 9 guys, he would be the last one of the 9 that I would want starting next year. And it's not. It's just simply off of tired of settling for comfortability, because that's all it is now. It's comfortability. It's either shit or get off the pot, and it's time to get off the pot. He's not good enough to get it done. He's only good enough to be competent, and we need better than that. We need to start building something and putting someone in to grow and stop wasting everyone else's years of just being okay. So he could be the first one to go, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. So let's wrap it up. 30 minutes in a flash just before the game
Picks.
starts. Oh, our picks, real quick. Yes, absolutely, Jarrett, because you brought it up. Do us the honors of starting off.
I believe for the next week I have shit. I don't even know who I picked for next week. Oh, I got the bang. I got the
Yeah.
I got the Bengals +4 in a rematch game because I bet the Bengals last time and they canceled the game. So I like the Bengals this week to upset the Buffalo Bills, who I didn't think had a great game against the Miami Dolphins. So Bengals are heading to the AFC Championship game again.
Vin?
I'm rolling with the Kansas City Chiefs minus, I believe, 8.5. As much credit as I gave Doug Peterson and the Jags and Trevor Lawrence, all good things must come to an end. And there is a trend in the NFL where teams that come off of big emotional comeback wins usually get the brakes beat off of them the next week. The most recent example is the Music City, or I'm sorry, God, wow, sad. The one with the Vikings, whatever they called that.
Minnesota Miracle.
Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah, they had that play with Diggs where Case Keenum threw it up. The guy on the Saints whiffed. Diggs caught it, ran for a touchdown. Next week in Philly, they lost like 45-7. So I don't think they're going on the road to Kansas City, which is a very loud, hostile crowd. And if you look at Andy Reid's record off of a bye, it's pretty much flawless. So I am rolling with the Chiefs to handle the Jacksonville Jaguars by at least double digits. So I will lay the 8.5.
Very good. I'm going with the New York Football Giants. This team showed me that they are absolutely all bought in, and this is not like a situation where they just want to be good enough to get by one round. I mean, I think they're going to fight. I really, really do. I don't just think they have a chance of covering. I think they have a chance of winning. I'm bought in with Dable and Daniel Jones and Saquon, and their defense isn't great, but it's good enough. I think their defensive front is their strength. And I think they're going to give Philly everything they got. And I think Philly's going to walk in there with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're getting a week off. I think they're going to just think they're going to handle them easily. So we'll see. But I definitely like the Giants to cover next Sunday. So we're going to wrap up tonight. We'll have another topic for next week that we can dive into. Maybe we'll have a GM signing to talk about, OC signing to talk about. But we'll definitely have some content to cover for everyone in Titan Nation. So anything you guys want to chime in on before we wrap up?
Touch everything.
Absolutely.
I do not. I got a nice message back from someone else that maybe we can get on the show. So,
Yeah, we got 2
Great.
positives this week, so
Yeah.
hopefully we
Yeah.
get some guests on the show.
Absolutely. I think I might get Malik Willis on here too. I'm in the middle of texting him. Jared's got a lot of questions, so we'll work on that as the weeks progress. But yeah, so let's gear up for another week of playoff football. We'll have more to touch on next week, and as always, tighten up. Sammy, send me out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.